For centuries, the Royal Navy has been one of the world's most respected maritime forces. From protecting global trade routes to supporting military operations across the globe, Britain's Navy has played a central role in international security. But today, a new challenge is emerging, one that has sparked debate among defense analysts, military experts, and political leaders alike. The Royal Navy has decommissioned 9 ships over a relatively short period, while many of their replacements are not expected to enter service until the 2030s or even the 2040s. This has raised an important question: can the United Kingdom maintain its naval strength during this long transition? In today's video, we'll examine why these ships were retired, what replacements are on the way, and what this capability gap could mean for Britain's future naval power. Over the past several years, the Royal Navy has been undergoing one of its most significant modernization efforts in decades. Instead of simply maintaining aging fleets, the British government has chosen to invest in next-generation warships equipped with advanced sensors, missiles, autonomous systems, and digital combat management technologies. However, modernization comes with a difficult trade-off. Many older vessels have reached the end of their operational lives. Maintenance costs have increased dramatically, spare parts have become more difficult to obtain, and keeping these ships combat-ready has become increasingly expensive. As a result, several ships have been retired earlier than some observers expected. Among the vessels leaving service are mine countermeasure ships, survey vessels, offshore patrol vessels, and amphibious support ships. While some of these ships were no longer considered suitable for future warfare, they still contributed valuable operational capabilities. Removing them without immediate replacements inevitably creates temporary gaps in the fleet. One of the biggest concerns involves mine warfare. Sea mines remain one of the cheapest yet most effective naval weapons ever developed. A relatively inexpensive mine can threaten commercial shipping, delay military operations, or even close strategic waterways. For decades, the Royal Navy maintained a dedicated force of mine hunters capable of locating and neutralizing underwater explosives. Now, Britain is shifting toward autonomous mine hunting technology. Instead of sending sailors aboard specialized ships into dangerous waters, unmanned surface vessels and underwater drones will perform much of the mission. In theory, this approach offers greater safety, lower operating costs, and increased flexibility. But implementing an entirely new concept takes time. The retirement of traditional mine countermeasure vessels before the new autonomous systems are fully operational has generated concern among some defense experts. Another area attracting attention is amphibious capability. The retirement of certain support vessels has prompted questions about Britain's ability to rapidly deploy Royal Marines during humanitarian operations, disaster relief missions, or military interventions. While larger and more capable future support ships have been proposed, many remain in the planning or procurement stages. That means today's fleet is smaller than what long-term plans envision. Surface combatants are also undergoing a major transformation. The Royal Navy currently relies heavily on its Type 45 destroyers and Type 23 frigates. The Type 45 destroyers remain among the world's most capable air defense warships. They are designed to protect carrier strike groups from advanced missile and aircraft threats. The Type 23 frigates, meanwhile, have served Britain exceptionally well for decades in anti-submarine warfare, escort missions, and international deployments. But many Type 23 frigates are now approaching the end of their service lives. Their successors, the Type 26 and Type 31 frigates, promise substantial improvements. The Type 26 has been designed primarily for anti-submarine warfare, featuring advanced sonar systems, quiet propulsion, and the ability to operate sophisticated helicopters and unmanned systems. Meanwhile, the more affordable Type 31 is intended to increase fleet numbers while remaining versatile enough for global deployments, maritime security operations, and international partnerships. Unfortunately, warship construction is a lengthy process. Design work, testing, manufacturing, sea trials, and crew training can each require years before a vessel becomes fully operational. Even after construction begins, unexpected technical challenges or supply chain issues may delay delivery. As a result, several replacement ships will not be available until well into the next decade. Some major programs extend even further into the 2040s. This creates what defense planners often call a capability gap, a period during which older systems have already retired while newer ones have not yet entered service. Capability gaps are not unique to Britain. Many modern militaries experience similar challenges while replacing complex equipment. The United States, France, Germany, Australia, Japan, and several NATO allies all face comparable issues when transitioning between generations of military technology. The challenge lies in balancing today's operational requirements with tomorrow's technological ambitions. Britain also faces budgetary pressures. Modern naval vessels are significantly more expensive than their predecessors. Advanced radar systems, vertical launch missile cells, stealth shaping, cyber protection, integrated communications, and sophisticated propulsion systems all contribute to rising costs. Governments must balance defense spending with healthcare, education, infrastructure, and other national priorities. This often forces difficult procurement decisions. Recruitment and retention present another challenge. Operating larger fleets requires thousands of trained sailors, engineers, technicians, pilots, and maintenance specialists. Like many Western militaries, the Royal Navy has experienced recruitment difficulties in recent years. Investing in newer, more automated ships may help reduce long-term manpower requirements, but the transition remains challenging. Despite these concerns, supporters of Britain's modernization strategy argue that quality matters more than quantity. Future Royal Navy vessels are expected to possess significantly greater combat capability than many of the ships they replace. Networked warfare, artificial intelligence, long-range precision weapons, autonomous vehicles, and integrated battlefield awareness could allow fewer ships to accomplish missions previously requiring much larger fleets. The United Kingdom also continues to operate two large aircraft carriers, HMS Queen Elizabeth and HMS Prince of Wales. These carriers represent the centerpiece of Britain's modern naval strategy. Together with destroyers, frigates, submarines, support vessels, and allied naval forces, they provide Britain with considerable expeditionary capability. International cooperation also remains an essential component of British defense policy. As a leading member of NATO, the Royal Navy frequently operates alongside the United States Navy, the French Navy, the Dutch Navy, and many other allied fleets. Combined operations allow participating nations to share responsibilities across multiple regions. This multinational approach helps compensate for temporary capability shortfalls while strengthening collective security. Nevertheless, critics argue that alliances should complement national capabilities rather than replace them. A navy must still possess sufficient independent capacity to respond rapidly to crises affecting national interests. Whether the current fleet size adequately meets those responsibilities remains a topic of ongoing debate. Looking ahead, the next decade will likely determine the future shape of the Royal Navy.